How did you read the fact that he didn't actually swallow the guy's
Probably tastes
face?
horrible. I mean, you know, who wants to eat a homeless guy?
Welcome to News Beast. We've got Tony and Mike Daly in the house.
How are you?
Good. So,
Didn't want to take a jump on my last name there.
yeah,
It
I
is a
always
complicated
figure
one.
that out.
Dokoupil?
Dokoupil. See,
People have been skipping it.
I've learned it every like
At
3
my
or
high
4
school
times.
graduation, they skipped over.
Because I was doing
Tony,
Dokoupil, whatever.
And then Davis
Whatever.
came in.
I want to talk to you about a more clinical problem: zombie apocalypse, internet-driven feeding on people. Whoa, man, what's going on? You got a story in the Newsweek about this?
Yeah, I do. Headlines aren't necessarily, they're advertisements for the story. So we're not saying the internet is causing people to eat flesh.
Oh.
No, yeah. So, but we are saying that serious researchers are beginning to come around to the idea that the internet, unlike prior technologies, really does change the brain and could tip people over into a frenzy of.
So Truman Show syndrome is now a diagnosable thing?
Yeah, there was a NYU psychiatrist who floated this idea about 5 years ago, and he just last month published the first descriptive study of these cases. And it's people who, through their access to YouTube and like wall-to-wall reality TV programs, begin to conceive of themselves as being the center of a reality TV show. They are stars of epics of their own show, or stars of their own epic.
I know a lot of guys like that in high school.
Yeah, exactly, right?
I mean,
Yeah, just
it's like the digital Twinkies defense.
the digital Twinkie defense. I like that. I like that. Yeah, it is sort of like, I feel like it's Summer of the Shark, except people are eating each other. It's just, there's an element of sort of self-obsessed preoccupation. It's manufactured controversy.
Yeah, although I do think there is an uptick in the eating of people. I mean, there were 6 cases of cannibalism last
The
week.
guy
and
didn't swallow though.
Apparently,
So
yeah.
that's
Apparently,
not really
he's
cannibalism.
involved.
That's-
His family can rest easy.
That's right. That's right. And how did you read the fact that he didn't actually swallow the
Probably
guy's
tastes
face?
horrible.
It's the Alpo test. He didn't like the dog food.
I mean, you know, who wants to eat a homeless guy?
Who wants to eat a homeless guy? Truer things have rarely been said.
I do love the fact that he ate around the goatee, apparently, which shows that the
Maybe
hair
he's
on
trying to
food
get
is
past-
no
maybe
good,
he's
no
trying
matter
to
what.
Get past the hair.
Yeah, exactly. No matter what, nobody likes hair on
This
food,
poor
even if
guy.
you're on bath
Oh,
salts.
God.
Look, if we don't have humor, what do we have? You know that as well as anyone, Mike.
That's true.
Let's talk. You got a new story on the Etan Patz case saying that the alleged killer may be crazy. Does that mean he didn't do it?
Well, you know, I mean, you got to pity the detectives because, you know, they pick up this guy. The guy starts out saying, I don't know anything about this kid. And never, you know, he worked right where the kid disappeared. He says he never recognized him. Then he ends up saying that he lured the kid in the basement with a soda. Well, the mother says, oh, way back then, when the kid left the house, he had $1 in his hand.
To go get a
Just
soda.
go buy the soda. So
Yeah.
how does this guy know about a soda if he doesn't even know anything, recognize his kid? So you got to tell yourself, this is the guy.
Yeah.
But then the lawyer and everybody else says, yeah, you got maybe, you know, but the guy's also nuts. And then you don't have corroborating physical evidence. So then now you go from the point of you arrest the guy, but now you got to prove he did it to the point where a jury's going to say, and so now you got to worry if you go to trial, you could be sure this guy did it, but the whole Etan Patz saga could end up with this guy walking off.
Even after he confessed to a church group in the 80s, too.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, but you don't have any physical
Evidence.
And it seems the body may have really just, because there was a 5-day, I ended up tracking down a sanitation guy who worked down there.
Yeah.
And he said that there was a 5-day collection at that time. It would have been the Friday. Most likely it would have been around 9 o'clock. So that would mean that this poor kid, after he gets killed and this guy puts it out, an hour later he's gone. And the evening you got 300 cops looking for someone who's at a barge over here on the west side already.
So why do people confess to crimes that they didn't commit?
Well, you know, maybe it's because they haven't had enough YouTube. No, I mean, really, they want to put themselves
Maybe because
at
they've
the
had too
center of
much
a drama.
YouTube. No,
but I mean, I do think there's a human impulse to put yourself at the center of a drama. I mean, that goes way back to the caves when the guy's drawing on the thing saying, yeah, I got this big bull.
Yeah, it was that big. You should have seen this
Probably like
bison.
it
It
was
was
probably a little
unbelievable.
squirrel. Or something. But I just think that's a human impulse. If you get someone a little bit nutty, they can start convincing themselves. I mean, it's possible certainly the detectives would have been cognizant that it's possible this guy was like giving it up, but this was not something where he like blurted it or he walked in and said, I did it, and he had tinfoil on his head.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
no,
that's
this was a long-standing case, and it does add up. Just because you're schizophrenic doesn't mean you didn't do it.
exactly.
That's exactly right.
Question for you too. Obviously, Mary Kennedy story on the cover of Newsweek, in the news, controversial story, a lot of detail out there. You wrote one of the earlier pieces about it, a lot of empathy for Mary Kennedy. What's your feeling about how this is all playing out right now?
I think it was a great get for Newsweek to have the affidavit. And I think it was a great get to speak to the homeowner, the housekeeper.
The housekeeper, yeah.
And she clearly was nuts. Now the question is, what were all the factors that may have driven her nuts? I don't know a lot of guys that got a right hand from their wife that didn't deserve it to some degree. And and there's
The second pull quote of the whole thing. That was good.
no, but and there's an old saying among homicide detectives that most people contribute to their own demise in it. But I think that also, if you have a nutty spouse, you probably had something to do with it. And I guess my problem with the whole thing is that I think if you're the survivor of a suicide, it's kind of incumbent upon you to maybe take on more of the blame than put it on this poor person that already basically administered capital punishment to herself. That's my feeling.
Well,
Well said.
I can't expand on that.
Final word then.
YouTube.
Cannibal. Ugh.
Mental illness, hyphenated. That's all for us on this News Beast. Have a good day.